Yeah.
And we are on. Hey, everyone. Making sure you guys can all see me. Wow, look at us. Already there are 60 people on. It is an exciting day. So this is a shootout. We're going to talk about the TV shootout, but most importantly, today is dedicated to one very unique TV that we haven't seen in the USA since 2014, and that would be a Sharp flagship TV. Hey, look, there's Robert with the first flagship Sharp TV in the USA ever. And this is the Sharp XLED TV. And I'm going to go over a few of the specs. It will be at the shootout, mostly because it has easily, on paper, the most impressive specs of any 65-inch LCD, mini-LED, full-array local dimming zone TV of 2023. Over 2,000 dimming zones, I think 2160, lots of mini LEDs and so forth, right? So this is kind of cool. And what's important to me is it felt like the LCD TVs have kind of stalled with Sony not even introducing a 65-inch new mini LED TV for 2023. And Samsung really feels like they're just moving the deck chairs to a certain degree, right? Because the performance of the QL95C really wasn't, I mean, there was more dimming zones, but it really wasn't pushing performance. So
I think
the Sharp XLED pushes the specs to a whole other level. 2,000 dimming zones is literally twice what we're seeing from the QM8, which is an impressive TV. And the QL95C only has like what, a little over 1,300. So this is the XLED that you see. I'm going to put Robert in there real quick so you guys can get a close-up of what it looks there. Unfortunately, we're still setting up. We're trying to get things to look good. Robert, what is it you see? Tell us.
Thank you. And I'm sorry we don't have a proper camera to demonstrate for all the viewers to see what we see here. But this is an exceptional television. And, you know, I had very, very high expectations. I've only, up until today, I've only seen handmade prototypes at a private event that I went to that Sharp invited me to. So this is the first time we're seeing in the United States mass production. And I was very, very optimistic, and I'm excited to say it's filled my highest thoughts. So this is a beautiful high-end TV.
Why does he look taller than me?
Sorry about that.
Well, he is 7 feet tall, Brian. Come on. So, Brian, Brian,
you got a longer torso.
Yeah.
Brian, this is the first time you've seen the Sharp, right? Robert's got a chance to see it at their showcase and their demo. And you're seeing it for the first time with the other TVs. And I know we're having a bit of trouble with the camera to make sure we get the close-ups, but it is what it is. We still want to start and hear your impressions. You've seen the X95L, the 85-inch. You've seen the X93L. You've seen the QL95C.
Yep.
How does this compare?
So we've seen them all here. I'll tell you that the local dimming is excellent. I mean, it's got excellent blacks. Black bars are very, very black. The challenge we're having is getting to know just the verbiage of each setting. I mean, it's something we haven't seen in a long time. So like local dimming is, you know, middle. And the local dimming has not only a darkening feature, it makes the image brighter. So it's not just the blooming control. So we're just got to get a handle on what all the features really do, which is why I didn't want to put it against another TV right off the bat and put it at a disadvantage. But out of the box, it's very punchy. Reminds me very much of a Panasonic OLED.
Oh, that's saying a lot.
Very accurate, you know, that like the Hollywood monitors we had here a couple of years ago.
Yes, thank you.
So it has that. To me, it's got that Panasonic look. The chassis also has a little bit of that look to it as well.
Are you enjoying the swivel stand? Because for me, that's the highlight of this TV.
I do like it. So what I'll do is I'll end up using, I'll take the phone. I'll sign in the StreamYard that way, and I'll be able to show you the chassis that way. But you guys will be able to see it.
Yeah.
The sound is off the charts.
Yeah, okay. Amazing on this TV.
And what about, and the operating system is Google TV?
Yes,
Google
it
TV.
is.
Yep.
Yes.
Is it similar to how Sony does it with so many settings, or is it more like a Hisense or TCL where their settings are minimal? Like, how do you feel this? Or you could go through the settings while you're showing it later.
It's got a lot of extra settings that we don't typically see. A lot of noise reduction settings. It has some of the ones that I don't recognize, to be honest. AI are, they have different names for
We don't even know what it is.
so that's kind of why I didn't want to right away put it against something like the QN95 and then find out the tone mapping is static on the Samsung or active on, I can't see a tone mapping feature on this just yet. So I don't want to kind of do that just.
And Mozart has a great question. He's wondering, what's the screen coating? Is it glossy, matte? What are you seeing with the screen coating?
I call it semi-gloss.
I mean, it's semi-gloss.
Yeah.
It's not.
Okay.
It's not. It's got. Well, I'd say right now we're in the brightest room imaginable. There's skylight above us.
It's got a very good anti-glare, I guess, coating or filter.
It's nice. It reminds me of like a VT, but it's the styling is that plasma elegance.
Yeah.
And here's a great question from Buddy Love. Thank you for the super chat. For those of you who remember Sharp before they left, they introduced the yellow sub-pixel. So Buddy wants to know, is it 4 colors, RGB and yellow? Is that still around? Can you help us with that, Robert?
But I think it's a traditional red, green, blue. There's no yellow sub-pixel.
No more yellow skin, huh?
Confirm that. I will reconfirm that. And I'll be back on the channel answering questions, and that's an item that's on my list. It's already on my agenda.
Excellent. Oh, and I have to put up USCJ fight on. We have our opening game this weekend against San Jose State, so it's so good to see you, USCJ. Well, we are definitely welcoming of anyone who is a TV fan. So maybe USCJ will have a new TV this year.
When you first gave it to me.
Okay.
We're swimming in the sauce, buddy.
Nice.
Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. Oh, that's what the remote looks like. Oh, wow. That's a lot of buttons.
A lot of yeah. So we got the numbers. We got the numbers. We have the numbers.
I like that.
Now, when you said earlier, Brian, when you were looking at it, you said it was plasma-like. And to me, that sounds like a compliment because many people who have the plasma, they refuse to sell it. What is it about the Sharp XLED that makes it plasma-like?
Well, to me, the chassis reminds me of the last plasmas. It's sleeker, more sleek, but it has that one stand underneath it. It swivels, but it just has that elegant look to it. Very simple, looks nice. But the plasma look to it, it almost feels like it's aiming to be even more accurate than say a Sony. It looks like that's their signature. So if you want that director's intent, I would definitely aim for them. It's
a very natural and real looking image. So it has great depth and detail. And
now this is as compared to a Samsung, because when we see a Samsung, it's normally a bit more vivid or a bit exaggerated. So you're saying it's similar to the Sony, skin tones, warmer, something like that?
But this very bright and very punchy.
It's extremely bright. But while we're talking, go ahead, Robert. You talking? I want to just share the presets that come with it. If that's, So you can just keep talking, Robert.
Okay. Very good.
Oh,
well, I don't think
while you're doing that, Brian, if you could comment on the motion or upscaling, if you're able to see any differences with motion or upscaling.
So the preset
for the super chat.
So the presets are comfort, standard. There's no point in me showing them. Actually, hold on.
I love it. Comfort.
So they start off with comfort at the top, HDR, standard, dynamic, sport, movie, game, and then eco.
Okay. I suspect comfort is not as bright, so it'll be fun to play with comfort. I mean, just that alone, I could get a TV and say, you know what? My TV's got comfort mode. Yours does not.
A lot of other luminance settings here, more than we've seen before.
Really?
And it's on.
Okay,
I'll find it.
Very good. But bottom line, this is a very welcome addition to the premium luxury market. Now, with all that said, this and their OLED that comes out next week as well, by the way, they're going to have an OLED TV next week, are the only two in the line that I'm going to carry. But they make 5 different LCD models. So you will see these in the lower end models available in big box stores and
Right.
on. But this premium luxury one, I believe, will be dedicated to the custom install independent specialty retailer.
And for us luxury TV watchers, Brad, can you see if in the motion settings, what does it look like? Like what kind of motions are available? Anti-judder, smoothing, blur?
I say that in the motion settings, from what I can gather, almost everything is in the advanced settings.
Yeah.
So we get into, I mean, they have settings like blue stretch.
We don't know what that is.
Yeah, I've seen black stretch, but blue stretch is all new to me.
So AISR.
We don't know what that is either.
Sure what that is,
AISR. Now, I do have a meeting scheduled next week with the more technical engineering and product.
Yeah, let's decode
So
these.
the TV in front of me, and we're going to go through every menu setting and what these all do.
So what I like about the adaptive Luma control,
Yes.
so they kind of have your noise reduction settings, things like that, all on one page instead of having clarity tabs.
That's right.
Local contrast is your dynamic contrast, very strong if you like that feature.
Yes.
So a lot of flexibility of image. You can make it look kind of how you want, but it's got a very accurate movie mode. For those of you that, I think it has almost a filmmaker mode feel in movie mode.
And we
Hey, Brian,
down.
Mozart's saying that the AISR could be the AI super resolution. So maybe with low bitrate content, it'll do something special.
Right.
Okay.
And you can see we have this set in the dark gamma mode. So this thing is toned down, even though we're in a high ambient light room, because it is so bright and so powerful. We've toned it down a little
So
bit.
it also has a setting 10-bit color reproduction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that goes from off all the way to high. The AISR goes from off to high. I mean, the demo you see here is very saturated. It's a Samsung SDR, and it looks very natural. You got a color tuner, a lot of calibration ability,
Yes.
saturation. But I think for any of us that aren't familiar with, I mean, Sharp hasn't made a product like this in a while. It's just going to see the grouping of settings and where they are. But as far as motion,
I think our calibrators are going to have a really good time with this one. This has a lot of ability to tune this TV.
So as far as motion,
Maybe too much.
So I'm going to say, as far as motion enhancement, it's pretty limited. It just says effect off to high,
Medium and high.
medium
No,
and high.
no medium.
Middle also goes off, middle. I don't see a anti-judder or.
Yeah, and we had it set to low, and motion looked very smooth.
Hey, Robert, when you meet with engineers, people are asking whether the native panel is 10 bits or 8-bit FRC.
Thank you.
I would imagine
Please put that in the comments. I'm going to rely on
It's
this.
in.
I would
Exactly.
imagine it's got to be 10.
Yeah, I would imagine it's 10-bit, but let me confirm.
But you guys can see, I mean, the difference in brightness when you jump from, standard to movie
Yeah.
is pretty substantial.
I love the comfort mode, though. I cannot wait to see what that really does.
Yeah, it's a very bright TV. It's just getting used to the lack of shortcuts. I mean, they have a shortcut, which is the tool button,
Right.
but the tool button, for those of you familiar with Plasma, was always what they used for Plasma for Panasonic.
Yes.
It doesn't really give you much of a shortcut, so
Oh, yeah, that's bright.
it sounds phenomenal.
Oh, the audio on this TV is crazy.
So
In my life, I never thought I would ever
So-
say you don't need an external audio system with your TV. But this thing is
Yeah. Now, Robert, do you know if this is the Dolby Vision, if it's TV LED Dolby Vision or player LED?
Put that
You
in
know?
the comments.
We'll ask. I'll remember.
I'm gonna guess, since they do their own SoC and their own,
Right.
I'm gonna guess it's TV LED.
TV LED. Right.
TV LED. Okay.
It doesn't seem a reason to do your own SoC and not do it that way. Do you know what I'm saying, FOMO? I'm gonna guess.
Yeah.
No.
Now, Robert, does it have both HDR10 Plus and Dolby Vision, or just Dolby Vision?
It has all the formats. It's got I don't know if it has HDR10 Plus.
I'm not sure about the HDR10 Plus. HDR10, HLG, and
And
Dolby.
Dolby Vision.
HDR.
Okay.
I'm going to double check on the HDR10 Plus as well.
You guys got to hear this. Can you do the volume FOMO or no? If I pump it.
Yeah, turn it up, because we'll hear what you hear. But I don't know if we could really compare volume. But you know what?
Audio
so on the top you have up firing speakers on top, speakers below, and you have the subs in the back.
Wow.
I'll show you through the Samsung what it looks like in a second.
It has 11 independent amplifiers and 11 discrete independent speakers.
This would be the first TV to beat a Hisense.
In addition to subwoofers.
Well, as far as the sound, it smokes it, which is saying a lot because Hisense got great sound.
This is insane audio. Insane.
Well, hold on. Let me add my camera FOMO, and then we'll play the sound for you. The next time I'll have my Surface Pro, and we'll have all the cameras attached.
And the cropping bars, the CinemaScope bars are black.
Yeah, they're very black.
Yeah. And when bright objects get close to the bars, you don't see the glow and halo.
I cannot wait to get this TV, Robert, and test it out. I am looking forward to the
You do over 2,000 local dimming zones. Not only is it's 2,160 local dimming zones for the 65-inch, 2,304 local dimming zones for the 75-inch. But in addition to that,
there we go.
we have a huge amount of LEDs that are very tiny and very densely packed together. So
Robert,
this backlight is great.
So
now, someone's asking what sizes you'll be carrying for the WRGB OLED from Sharp.
They're only going to have them in 55 and 65 to start.
Okay.
Later, we're going to get 77-inch and maybe 83. Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. Is it 65 and 55? It's on our webpage. Please forgive me for not being.
It would be.
All right, Brian. I see your cam up. The Brian cam is up.
I'm going to show you the design, if that's okay.
Yeah, please. Let's do it.
So again, I can't control the aperture or anything, so don't judge the picture quality on it.
That's for sure.
But you have that plasma look with the stand.
I love the stand and the fact that it rotates.
So
it
you
comes
can
with
see
that
that
stand.
We can swivel it.
Yeah, the swivel stand.
Yeah, swivel it.
Yeah.
Okay. But what I like is if you look at the speakers on top.
Oh wow! That's pretty cool.
This
audio
is insane what this audio is.
That is legit audio. That must be the most impressive audio on a TV built in I've seen yet.
So you can see the bezel's got the kind of like an X95 look to it, or X93.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then as we move to the back, it just has the speaker sticking out a little bit.
Very nice.
It has a very interesting look to it, and you have the subs in the back.
It has a very high quality build and form fit to it. It's a very heavy TV. I think it's 82 pounds. It's a very heavy TV, but that's because of.
But for those of you that are familiar with plasma, this does look like a maybe 65 with the bezel, or it just has that very simple look. The front bezel's black.
It's a very thin bezel. It's not a fat bezel.
Nope, it's silver. Let me just, you want to answer that super chat FOMO, then I'll do the sound for you.
So this is a shout out to Robert of Valley Electronics. Thank you, Travis Sylvania. I can't watch now, but looking forward to watching later. I bought my last TV from Valley Electronics and will do so again. Hi, Robert. Please try to cover gaming and VRR on this TV. You know Brian well. Love you guys. Love you too, Travis. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, phone, we ready for the sound?
Yep, let's do it.
To lower this one? No.
I can leave this on. Mine's off.
Okay.
This is our good friend Jennifer. Now listen for the rain and the crickets.
Hey,
There we go with the ring.
hey, Brian, while you're there, can you check the off-axis viewing? Lisa wants to know.
Lisa, what's up, my dear? It's very good, actually.
It has deep, rich bass. It does very well with the high frequencies. It has a lot of detail in the audio. The center channel is very accurate. It's unusual audio for TV audio.
So you can actually see the camera. This is Jen, as you can. So I'm going to be on angle for you.
The off angle is very good.
I can't control the aperture, and it looks that black. Can you guys see it?
Oh, yeah. Okay, that looks much better. That looks great.
Yeah.
So I'm extremely off angle. You can actually see me in the shot.
Yeah. That's impressive, actually.
Yeah.
I cannot wait to get this in the studio, Robert. This looks really good from here.
So, FOMO, you're going to love it. It just has that accurate, that director's intent.
Yeah.
But for those of you that aren't a fan of that, you can actually make it pretty saturated. So I'm pretty impressed with it.
Yeah.
Now, since this will be at the shootout, people are asking about the color gamut, color volume coverage, all that stuff. We'll have all the specs
Oh, yes.
by the time it's calibrated for the shootout. So all of that will be shared sooner rather than later, but definitely before the shootout.
Yes.
And I'm hoping to get my grimy little hands on it and do a quick review before the shootout as well. So I'm definitely excited to get this TV.
Absolutely. You bet.
Do you know if it supports a 3D LUT calibration like the LG TVs?
I was told it does, but I'm going to reconfirm that's on my short list as well. But I was told yes. Now that's what I need to. It's a manual.
Lisa says she might want this TV. Speaking of, is this TV available anywhere else other than Value Electronics? Because obviously, I know your store is a
Place on
retailer.
the planet, only here in Scarsdale.
It's only, no. We're not going to see it on Amazon or Best Buy, right, Robert?
No, but what's wrong with buying it from Value Electronics?
Absolutely nothing, right?
We direct authorized. It's free shipping nationwide. We're the only dealer at this time. I do expect that once they can produce enough of these, that is more than I could sell, that at that point they'll open it up to other independent retailers. But I don't see this model anyway going into Amazon or retailers like
So
that.
I'll tell you, FOMO, I mean, from what Robert and I have seen it's only been about an hour and a half, 2 hours since we unboxed it. If you're somebody that likes that signature, it doesn't look like a Sony.
Right, it doesn't.
Really, but it's got that same want as far as accuracy. Colors look very accurate, but it doesn't look like a Sony. So I guess what I'm trying to say is it's another option for those of you that want that type of TV, but I've been able to make it look very colorful and very bright, but I do think its most accurate mode reminds me of a Panasonic OLED from what I saw here.
So we have Plasma TV for gaming asking, the build quality looks old school, right? A throwback to the days of Pioneer Kuros. What's the price and availability, Robert?
They're available now. The 65-inch nationwide delivered, free shipping, is $24.99. And the 75-inch is $500 more at $29.99.
Okay.
Now, the list price is $1,000 higher, but we work very closely, as you can tell, with Sharp and all their senior top executives. And we were able to persuade them to come out with a launch promotion, which gives you $1,000 extra discount. So we didn't launch it. We launched at an aggressive promotional price.
So what can you sell the 65-inch? It'll be $1,000 off the list.
That's $24.99 is the
$24.99 is the $1,000 off. Got it.
Right.
Woo! That is flat.
65-inch OLED. I checked my website. I think it's going to be like $14.99.
What was that, next week?
Yeah.
And that's WOLED, right, Robert? It's not the QD OLED. That's WOLED.
It's the new XR processor. Not processor. All the processors are Sharp. It's the new It's the new OLED panel, the 2023 one,
From LG.
but
Oh,
not
got it.
micro lens array. It's not an MLA.
Right. Okay. And Iceman and Bob, thank you for the super chat. Thank you so much, FOMO, Robert, and Brian, for this stream. Robert, can you save me a seat at the shootout, please? I don't want to drive from Atlanta only to get turned around. Thanks in advance. So for those who want, and we'll talk about the shootout, who want to attend, how can they attend? How many tickets are left?
Right.
How much is the tickets? Do we have the details yet?
Right. So there's a total of 10 tickets available to the general public. Now they are serving breakfast, lunch, dinner, cocktails throughout the day, and all kinds of hors d'oeuvres throughout the day. And the food, the catering, costs them $100 a day per person. So they are asking for these 10 attendees to pay $100 each to attend the event. So it recoups just their food catering money. And then
that's some pizza.
you'll be invited to the private press conference at the end, where we have cocktails and food, and we announce the results of the TV Shootout. So you'll be coming to the press conference also. It starts at 9 a.m. with breakfast and my opening remarks, and it ends at like 6:30 at night. So it's
On Sunday or on Saturday?
on Saturday. Sunday
Okay.
would be a little bit shorter.
Okay.
So FOMO,
And how do people get a hold of you? Email, phone number?
Email is the best way.
Email?
Yes, please email.
And your email is on your website, right? valuelectronics.com. Just email direct and say tickets. Gotcha.
Yes.
And it's not the first 10, but rather they have to prove that they are real enthusiasts. How are you deciding who gets to go? Like a regular, like Iceman and Bob. You know, I'll vouch for Iceman and Bob. I see them all the time. Is that good enough?
That's good enough for me. You bet. Iceman, you're coming, please.
you just have to pre-order the Z3. It's about 30K.
Excellent. And Chris and I
Have any of that great food? You know that, right?
and Christopher says is asking, is it a VA panel, the Sharp? Now, I thought you said it was. It is, right? Okay.
It is VA. It's
And
blind. It's not.
are you shipping to Canada, Robert, since they're not selling it in Canada?
I'm not sure. I got to ask my friends at Sharp. No for all other brands, but possibly for Sharp.
And Mozart notices that it's only an extra 500 for an extra 10 inches, right? So the same 5-inch is only $500 more. Okay.
I know.
Just making sure.
Well, like Plasma TV for gaming said, that if you like that durable look, it's got it. I mean, it really is a nice looking TV. It was packaged very well, which you'll see in my video. I'll also, for you guys, I'll throw up a short clip tonight of it.
Good.
Good. But I'm impressed with it so far. It's just getting
Brian,
the nuance.
this question actually is for you. Sonia's asking, she's looking to buy a 75-inch TV this year. Which one will be good for movies? This Sharp XLED, the Z9K, or the 900B? And I know you've seen all three of them, Brian, in all different sizes. Robert, Brian, what are your thoughts on how the Sharp compares?
The C is now out, the new one, and they made some nice upgrades in both the panel and the processor. So the 900C is a big upgrade from the 900B. That would be nice. And of course, you love the Z9K. How could you not? And then this is where you're looking at the three best TVs. You did a good job. I mean, there's a future for you if you want to come over here and join us.
I would say out of the three, I mean, the XLED is the only one that's 4K.
Yes.
So if 8K is important for you,
right?
Which I don't know why it would be, but the Z9K I put before the 900.
Well, the 900C looks nice.
900C is nice. The 900C's got better color this year. It's not as bright as the 900B.
Right.
And they do still have that habit of dimming the image to compensate blooming. The Z9K is a wild beast.
Right.
I'd actually look at the X. Well, the X95 is not available over 75.
The Z9K would be the best TV.
Out of those,
that is the best.
I mean, the XLED, I haven't seen it at 75 yet, but these are all different price points. The 900B, if we still have them, they're affordable now. But
yes,
that you are buying last year's TV.
Yeah.
So it all depends.
I like the new.
So Sony, it's really what you want to use it for. You know, if you're a big gamer.
Well, she wants to use it for movies, so she's watching movies.
Z9K, I'm sorry.
It's either Z9K or the XLED, Sonia.
Yes.
Give us a little bit of time to get a little more.
This is our first unveiling, right? So we don't have experience with it yet.
Yeah, but so far, I would tell you that the blooming control is better than the Z9K.
That's saying a lot.
9K is off the chain. It's so bright, it's unwieldy.
Yeah.
So it will bloom. It's almost 4,000 nits. I'm not sure how bright this is, but the local dimming is a bit more refined.
And someone's asking whether Sharp is planning on sending you QD OLEDs next year, Robert. I know this year is just WOLEDs. Any word whether QD OLED will be sent to the USA?
So I'm one of the most tenacious people anybody has ever met.
You have to hear him on the phone. He's like, can you build me one? Let's build one.
Well, they make them now in this model year, but they're not bringing them into the US. So they heard loud and clear from me that I want QD OLED, and I explained all the differences, and or MLA, or give us MLA. So if we don't get it this year, we'll have it next year. Yes.
So, FOMO, we're going to do a Sicario where me, Robert, and a team are going to go over the border with panels.
Nice.
Yeah. And we're also writing up a list of things a wish list of what we want them to do. So there are some things that we're going to, we speak directly with the senior management and engineers.
You know, if Sharp wants to make it in the USA, they really got to hit hard if they want performance. Otherwise, there'll be another Vizio just going for the bottom of the barrel, right? So we don't want that.
Sharp has always been a luxury premium product. Has always been.
If that audio is any indication, I'm excited.
Yeah, in everything they do, always, in all their appliances and products.
All right.
Well, I'd say FOMO, some of the little things that, you know, we work on, be refinement, going through the menus, little things like that. But again, that's seeing what the inputs really are. It doesn't have that enhanced HDMI input, so it's automatically in HDR.
That's right.
But at the same time, it doesn't let you, if you're in 2.1 or if you're in 120 hertz, you can't really see that through the menu.
Got it.
Where a lot of brands have the back labeled per HDMI. This one is this. HDMI4 is the eARC here, and I believe we have 3 HDMI 2.1s on this one from what I think we have them. But we have the 4th is the eARC. So little things that are different. But maybe
we'll see you and your gaming test. I'm sure you're going to share with us the results of what your gaming conclusion is on the XLED. And Robert, Joey Joe wants to let you know that BFJ96 sends his regards to you and your family. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, Joey. Thank you so much.
And everyone, don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're enjoying this stream. We're seeing the Sharp XLED MiniLED TV with 2,000 dimming zones on a 65-inch TV for the first time I get anywhere. I mean, I haven't heard of a 65-inch TV with that many dimming zones, except for the rare exotic TV from China that I never get to see. So I'm glad something like that has made it to the USA from Sharp, which is, as you're saying, Robert, a luxury model this year. And for those who missed it, when Brian showed off the speakers on this TV, for me, that was the highlight. I have never seen a TV with what looks like a sound bar on the top of the TV. That thing is insane.
Yeah. And you know what's cool? It's got this chunky look, but only in the back where it looks like it tapers down. It's got an aggressive shoulders almost. So I love the speakers on the top. It's very bright in terms of its picture quality, but the sound, it's got bass.
Very good bass.
So it's definitely, you know, really, really nice.
And I know you still have the U8K, Brian, although Getty Man said you need to compare the QM8, which I have. I'll compare that. Brian, you definitely need to let us know, how does the U8K compare to the XLED when you get a chance?
We will.
Yeah, I mean, we have those capabilities.
Yes.
You know, plus we're dealing with little TVs, which we're not used to here. I mean, the first time him and I've actually been bigger than the TV. Usually the TVs are much larger than us, so it's been fun to play with a little one.
And I know you've only had it for literally minutes, less than an hour, but people want to know, even though the Sharp XLED is only 65 inches, and I think it comes in a 75, right?
Yes,
how does it compare to the Sony X95L, which arguably is the best LCD TV you can buy regardless of size? Yeah. Brian, you've seen both now. I know it's early, but your instinctual impression, is it as good, close?
So what I love about it, again, not sidestepping, I mean, that's 85-inch TV. It is the best Sony LED I've ever seen, simply because it's local dimming.
And it's got the backlight master drive.
The backlight, so it's not as bright as the ones in the past, but it has it where it counts. The XLED just has the same type of signature as far as accuracy, but it just has a cleaner look to it, if that makes sense. It almost has a clean look to it, but different. So they almost look like a different color just because of their signature. But it'd be hard for me to say it's better than the X95L right now. But I would say I'm very impressed with the local dimming. It's very bright. It may be brighter than the X95L. But if you like, again, if you like accuracy and you're a fan of that, it can get there. And if you like very vibrant and saturated, it can do that as well. So I would say right now, I'll still give the X95L the edge only because I know the panel better.
Yes.
And it's 85 inches, but we'll compare them and we still have them here.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah. And it'll be at the shootout. So SB Digital. Wait, when is the shootout? It's at the end of September, September 29, 30, or 30 and the 1st, right?
Actually, September 30th, which is Saturday. That's the 4K. And then the 8K event is Sunday, October 1st.
Okay. And yes, the Sharp will be there. I cannot wait to see it go against the best of the best.
Yes.
Especially OLEDs. Like, how close does it come, right? And everyone, if you're enjoying this stream, don't forget to click like.
I will say at times, especially walking into the store, what I love to do is I love to set them up in the store. Then I step out of the store and kind of walk back in. It's had the sunlight over it the whole day, and it does have a little bit of an OLED look to it. So
yeah.
And Christopher is saying, hey, Brian, at some point you need to record Robert being persistent. He wants to hear him on the phone yelling at Sharp, I want that cutie OLED.
They're like, we don't have that yet. He's like, yeah, you can give me 2 of them. Tomorrow, we need it tomorrow.
And one more time for those who kind of joined late and just want to catch the price real quick. How much is a 65-inch Sharp XLED? And a warning, Alfred, this is a luxury TV, so you're getting amazing audio. I mean, just looking at the hardware, I'm already impressed. I cannot wait. But what's the pricing again, the 65 and the 75-inch?
65-inch, this is the flagship model, $24.99. This is the Aquos XLED flagship model. And then 500 more, $29.99 for the 75-inch.
Sounds like a 75-inch is the one.
We deliver nationwide.
Yeah. Now, might be too early. Any impressions on the motion? Is it Sony-like motion, Brian, or is it Samsung-like soap opera?
Give me, you know what? It's not that I wouldn't say it's as good, FOMO. I just don't.
You don't know yet, right? It's too early.
You know what? You guys keep talking. I'll find the demo that has motion.
Okay.
Okay.
I know out of the box, there needs to be a few more motion controls for me to find. So they may be somewhere else.
Yeah.
But
now, Robert, Lisa is concerned that the A95L, the Sony flagship OLED, QD OLED, might not make it. Do we have confirmation that the Sony A95L will make it to the shootout on time?
Yes.
Don't be scared, Lisa.
I am flying that guy in from the assembly factory.
All right.
Don't be scared, Lisa. We got you.
We're going to make it.
It'll make it by the skin of its teeth, right, Robert?
Release it at CES next year and call it a 2024.
Right.
I mean, that's the last, and it's got to be a place where it can perform.
Yes.
I mean, it should be called a 2024 model at this point, right?
Make it, but it will make it. We purposely selected that date long ago, understanding that we were giving some leeway for delays.
Hey, Robert,
September 29th.
Here's a great question from Plasma TV. Luxury is a much needed feature. Let the wallets bleed. Now the question really is, you've seen all these luxury TVs for the last several years now, and to me, it feels like the actual luxury has kind of dropped, in my opinion. Right? The image quality is phenomenal, but the TV themselves, it's losing some of that heavy metal. It doesn't make sense. Like, it feels like they're cheapening out on the actual hardware. Right? I want a little bit more substance. How does this XLED compare to your other flagships, the X95L,
I love the design and fit and finish, very accurate. I love the build quality. This thing is very heavy for a 65-inch TV. It's extremely high-end build quality and design.
Okay.
And the form fit is very clean and neat. It's beautiful. This is high-end in every way.
This is high-end. Okay. And
so I would say they're the FOMO, I think, with especially Samsung, they're in a weird spot of waste in the environment. A lot of them have that initiative. So if you look at this back of, say, Samsung's panels, they have this flaky, almost cardboard.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's cheapening out. They're calling this part of energy saving. trying to make things look high end. So I totally get what we're saying, but I think they're all very cognizant of not using as much material because they're in that same initiative.
Yeah.
So like example, like the Z9G from whatever year that was. Yeah. The thing was 200 pounds, all metal. Most people really want things more minimalist if you ask anyone other than us. So I'm guessing that, but this is a little bit of a throwback to a more sturdy. I mean, it's 80 pounds.
85, I think.
It's 80 pounds. I mean, for 65
it's a heavy
inches,
TV.
I think that the Hisense is like 40 pounds at that size or something like that.
Yeah, I do miss the leather-bound remote controls. I mean, not gonna lie.
Well, remember the KS9000 had metal that like cut you.
Hey, Brian has a question, and I think this is a great question for you, Brian.
Okay.
85-inch Q90B or 77-inch S90C, 90% YouTube and 10% YouTube TV sports. That's all I watch. Your thoughts, Brian? So basically, it's the Neo QLED at 85-inch or the QD OLED at 77-inch. And he only watches YouTube or a little bit of YouTube TV sports.
I mean, the Q90B is not close to the S90C.
No.
It just isn't. It's not in the same planet.
Yeah.
If you really need the 85-inch, Brian, I mean,
the 95C is nice.
I mean, he's trying
more money.
He's trying to say it at 85. I mean, the S90
about the same price, similar, yeah.
I mean, if you need 85, Brian, the S90C will never be big enough to be 85.
That's right.
But
how about the QN95C? It's expensive.
Yeah, that's going to be much more expensive because you're looking at QN90B.
Yeah,
because you're comparing price, Brian. I would say if you, without them next to each other, if you need an 85-inch TV, the Q90B is an excellent TV. The size can make up for the 85 can make up for the 77-inch size. I can't make the S90 bigger for you.
Yes.
So if your seating distance is more than, I say, 8 feet away, you need to go 85. I would go with the Q90B.
And I think we have one piece left of the 85-inch QN90B.
Oh,
we're going to blow that out. So give us a call.
So, Brian, just put your credit card information right here. I'm going to scan it.
And I would say to Brian, since you are only watching YouTube and YouTube sports, I would go with the Q90B. The S90C is amazing, but that's mostly for movies with black bars, blah, blah, blah. YouTube, there's no black bars, right? You're just watching full screen. The Q90B full screen is absolutely phenomenal. It's when you have the black bars that people say, oh, well, you know, this, that, and the other, right? And I'm not worried about crushed blacks because it's YouTube TV and sports dynamic mode on the Q90B, more than good enough. Get the bigger size, call Robert, and get that blowout price if you can.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say that, I just corrected myself. We're used to comparing them. You're going to see it by yourself. You'll be very happy, Brian. Especially if you need that size. But give me and follow up with your seating distance. And if it's more than I'd say 7 feet.
Yeah. Then you want the 85.
You want 85.
Yeah.
And especially if you're in a break room.
Yes. Well said.
That's just good.
And this is what we've been struggling with. So I just had to address this. Glenn James is saying, hey, Fomo, can you adjust the camera so we can see the TV as it is? It's looking very overexposed. Oh, right there. It's perfect. It's not overexposed, right? So, Brian, why don't you share with us, what camera are you using?
So this is a MacBook. Is what it is. So, if I had brought the Surface Pro, we could have used the ZV-1, a DSLR, and we would have been all set. But I thought that the MacBook would let me use the S22 and it does, but it keeps me in like a portrait mode, so I can't control the aperture.
And that's why these kind of live remotes, it is difficult, right? If I was there, I'd go to town with you guys. But being what it is, that's why we had to delay it for 30 minutes. We're trying to get it the best exposure. Like right now, it looks great. But then suddenly the lighting changes a little bit and then it gets overexposed. So apologies, but when I get the TV into the studio, believe you me, we're going to give it a fair shot. Now, Robert, is the QNED 85-inch, the QNED 85 from LG, is it canceled? It doesn't. We don't hear any of the QNED news from LG this year for 2023.
Not going to have it in the US. Only the 2021 model.
Okay, well, there you go. There is no QNED.
No.
Yeah. That's just, if you're getting an LG, just go with the OLED. It feels like their mini LEDs are just, they don't care anymore. And why should they? Their OLED is their big seller.
Yes.
I think it's a mistake. I like the QLED.
So did
I
I.
think it would have been good if they
Yeah.
spent time with, especially the 8K one. But I just think
Yes.
I know that
Yeah.
I know Sony and LG are kind of limiting their lineups,
Mhm.
but we need more stuff to talk about throughout the year.
Yeah.
And here's a great question. Is the S94BD OLED from Samsung any good? It's essentially the S95B from last year. They're just relabeling it as the S94BD, and you can only get it at Best Buy. But ultimately, you're getting the S95B from 2022, and it's a great price. But if it's within $100 of the S90C, I would get the S90C.
Right.
Personally.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because you benefit from the updated Tizen, updated processor. It's a little bit faster. The number one complaint with the S95B also was the Tizen was a little bit laggy.
Mhm.
So, if it's only $100 apart, go with the S90C.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's confusing numbering, by the way. I mean, that's
Yeah, it is.
that at times it gives you like there's an option that's not really there. What would they do? The new WRGB
Mhm.
OLED's named the same as the S90 or something. So,
Mhm.
what's up, Marcus?
Yep.
What's up, baby?
And let me make sure we catch hey, thank you everyone for coming by. And don't forget to click like so it can go out to more people to check out this amazing new Sharp XLED.
Yes.
So here's a good question from Badzilla. Just watched my S90C 77-inch review. It's my editor's choice TV for 2023. Thank you, Badzilla. What do you think the price for it will be around Black Friday? So if you've been watching my community page, Samsung is currently pushing it at $23.99 for AAA members. That's a crazy low price. And normally Black Friday is within $100 of that price. So if you're a AAA member, go for it. It's $23.99. I think that's very aggressive. And there's no way, I don't see LG matching that until its best flash sale on Black Friday. Now, at Best Buy and Amazon, I think at best it will match $23.99. Maybe $100 more, maybe $50 less, but I think $23.99 is where its Black Friday price will be. But again, if you're a AAA member, that's the price you can get right now, and it sells out quick. Like I think I announced it 2 days ago, and it was all gone. And then today, it's back in stock for that price again. So yeah, it's Samsung is being so aggressive. And Robert, I know you price match a lot. Are you able to price match those AAA prices?
Yes, we do.
Oh,
Yeah.
Godzilla.
Yeah.
You heard that?
Yeah.
Robert will price match the AAA prices.
Yes.
The AAA price right now, $23.99. Give him a call, guys. He's gonna kill it. Oh my gosh, Robert. I'm gonna have to let people know.
Okay.
Hey, Cryptologist, great question. 85-inch X95L versus the LG 83-inch C3 versus the Samsung S90C 83. Which of these TVs number one spot overall? So the S90C 83 and the 83-inch C3 essentially the same technology, right? They're both WOLED. I would trust, now I haven't seen the S90C 83, but I would trust the 83 from LG because they've been doing WOLED longer than anyone else.
Yeah.
So with Samsung, it's their first stab at WOLED. If the price is within $100 of each other, get the 83-inch C3. So essentially, it's between the LG C3 83-inch and the 85-inch X95L. So if you want amazing processing, image processing, brightness, I would go with the 85-inch Sony X95L. I think, right? So what are you guys? What is your vote?
I mean, if you're gonna, to me, I know those few inches, it is a difference. I would go with the X95L. The TV's that good
It's that good.
And just
and there's no mistake here. It's no problem if you buy an S90C. That's a nice TV, but X95L is better.
I would say, and also it's just a little bit larger. I like it's just a good look to it.
Yes.
It's a premium TV though, my man. So that's
and when you add 2 inches diagonally, it adds height and width, so it adds more square inches than you imagine.
Yep.
And Plasma TV wants to remind Brian, can you see if it's the G-Sync or FreeSync compatible, optional, just while you're testing gaming? All
I saw so far was just auto low latency mode. I didn't see a game bar of any kind or anything, so I'll have to wait and see till I plug in a console to see that.
Or VRR, right? Okay.
With the engineers on the phone.
And I can answer this, Jesse. We're not going to have input lag tests. That's a dedicated gaming, essentially a gaming spec. So at some point we have a gaming shootout, but almost all OLED TVs will pass input lag tests with flying colors if that's your concern.
Yeah,
and it's really, it's not even an issue now. LCD TVs, if you're in game mode, it's fine. But if you're in the best image quality mode possible, you will always have lag. And that's why people get OLED TVs for gaming.
Yeah, instant pixel response. But
That's
I mean,
right.
we're still at the point now where input lag is not really part of the conversation.
Very quick,
For
very
anyone.
fast.
Okay. So, and Brian, since you're there, Robert and Brian, we need to get this answer sooner rather than later. When are we expecting to complete the review of the Sharp? For him, it comes down to the 85-inch X95L or the 75-inch Sharp. Ready to pull the trigger right now. I got cash and the wife is out of the house. So let me tell you this, it's 10-inch difference. I would go with the
95.
Absolutely. X95L, no question.
I mean,
Sorry
unless
about
you, yeah, I mean, I can save you the time of waiting for the review. I mean, 85.
And that's because of image size, and it's an
Yeah.
excellent
Just
TV.
And it's an excellent TV. Yeah.
But you know, with all these things said about nitpicking on all the elements of picture quality, as long as the image is good, screen size trumps everything.
Look,
Yes.
we say with the fighting analogy, a very good large fighter always beats an excellent smaller fighter.
Yes.
10 inches is no.
Yeah, that's huge. And Sergio, would you guys recommend the QLED 85 from 2022? So I reviewed that TV. It looks great, great game mode, but the problem is that I had a lot of corner bleed. So it's definitely panel lottery.
Yes.
Some panels are fine, but a lot of the panels have that weird corner bleed. So when you have a black bar, you're going to see a little blooming, a little hot spotting, flashlighting on those corners, which is essentially the panel's broken. So it's definitely an issue. And maybe that's why they didn't release one for 2023. They never addressed it. I think it's definitely a manufacturing defect. I wouldn't recommend it only because it's not worth going through the trouble, because there are so many good TVs from 2023 that's available. And I know the 2022 models are all like,
This is not
no
a
longer available. So don't beat yourself up.
Put up a sort nerdy's comment.
What was that?
A sort nerd after the super chat.
Oh, okay. Hey, Sinner Long, thank you for the super chat. Disregarding price, how would you say the U8K and QM8 compare to the X93L? So I think, Brian, this is probably closer to your neck of the woods. Now, I could tell you between the QM8 and the U8K, I prefer the QM8 a little bit more because it's better contrast, but I believe the image processing is a little bit better on the U8K for more challenging content as well as motion.
Yes.
Brian, you have the U8K, you've seen the X93L. What are your thoughts?
I mean, and I've seen the QM8. I like the QM8 a lot. The QM8 to me is almost like a throwback to Samsung without the dimming. So it's very saturated. It's very bright. We saw trying to calibrate it. Certain settings couldn't be disabled, like sharpening. So there is some artifacting if you're sensitive to that. The X93, what size was he talking about? 75? Or starting price?
X93 also is probably 65.
65. I haven't personally seen the X95L at 65 yet. Have you seen one yet?
Or the X93L, I'm sorry. X93L.
93L.
Yeah. Yeah, we have them here.
I mean, if the X93 is going to be the more premium feel and the better processing, it's just all you're saying, regardless of price. I mean, X93L probably, if you want to go down the middle of the road, the QM8's the brightest of the group.
Yes.
And the more unwieldy of the group. The U8K is kind of in the middle, better processing than QM8, but not as bright as the QM8.
Right.
So the X93L is kind of in the middle.
Mhm.
So I would probably go X93L in that.
X93L
And those
is my
of
take.
those three.
Yes.
I would just I like the U8K and QM8 for different reasons, and the X93 kind of falls in the middle. The X93L in some shots outperform the X95L
I know.
because the local dimming on the X95L is so good. The X93 actually appeared brighter. So it's almost a really overlooked TV this year, unfortunately.
Now here's a great follow-up. Kind of funny. Thanks for the answer. The 77-inch will be 10 feet away, but if he gets the 85-inch, has to sit 12 feet away.
Ryan, I'm 6 feet from 83.
That's right.
You gotta sit closer.
You really do.
You can sit outside, Brian. You got fish in your picture. He's gonna stop.
I'll tell you,
Every single professional person, Consumer Reports, CNET, recommends 1.5 times the picture height. For an 85-inch TV, you're supposed to be 7 feet away.
Oh, all right. I'm definitely 8 feet to 7 feet away from my 77-inch. I'm 7 to 8 feet away, and it's fine. So I like to sit within that 43-degree viewing angle because it's 4K. We're not worried about pixel density anymore.
Right.
And once you're used to that 43-degree viewing angle, you can't go back. You can't get smaller.
Yeah,
and that's why I love ultra short throw projectors. I get to sit 10 feet away from a 110-inch screen size. I mean, that's like boom.
You know, Brian, the easiest way to figure it out for me is if the TV looks like it's an average size, at 10 feet away, 77-inch will look like an average size.
It will.
If you're
It's a little small.
It's a little small at that size for me anyway. I mean,
me too.
Granted, we've already explained that we're probably not a good judge of character as far as that goes. We're like this. That looks good. I would say go with the 85 in your scenario. Don't go with 12 feet though. You're gonna go sit outside. Stay 10 feet. It'd be good.
And here, this is a great problem to have if you're outside the U.S. AJ is stuck between the 65-inch X95L, which is available in the UK, or the Samsung S90C. I'm in the UK, but being used to Sony, a bit afraid of the Samsung look. Go get the Sony 65-inch X95L. Yeah, just stick with Sony. The difference isn't night and day. Where like, oh my god, I should have got the QD OLED. I would get the 65-inch Sony X95L myself. So I wish I had it here in the US, but it's not here. Brian, what are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of the S90C because it recalibrated and it died in my lap. Died in my arms. Died in my arms before I could actually put it.
You died in your arms at M-Wave.
We didn't even film it. So we calibrated it. We had it all set up, and it was like go time. So, I mean, it's still a great TV. I like OLEDs, but I'd probably stay with the X95 on that. Mm-hmm. Then, though, if you're a big gamer, then the conversation goes the other way because it's basically a monitor. Mm-hmm. The S90C, it's got every gaming feature out there. It's got full bandwidth HDMI as well. So if that's what you want, AJ, go for the QD OLED. I don't know, QD OLED too, though. QD OLED's amazing. Yeah, I didn't give you an answer. X95.
Well, you know what, AJ? Get the Sony, and when it breaks, go to QD OLED.
Yeah, there you go. Well, they don't break that often, but it's kind of hard to.
Yeah. So follow up, interesting. Reason he asked, he's used to OLEDs,
right?
G2 currently, so even a minor improvement in local dimming and black level on a sharp 75-inch would trump the extra size of the X95L. Interesting.
So he's coming from a smaller G2. What's your G2? 65?
Yeah.
So if you're at a 65-inch G. He said, but I love his comment. His comment said that he wasn't a size queen.
Yeah.
But if you're coming from a 65-inch, here's what I'll say to you: we typically don't recommend going from 65 all the way to 85. That's a pretty big jump. The image may look soft to you if you're close and you're jumping 20 inches. If you have a 65, 77 is a nice jump. Then I would go with the XLED. If you have a 77-inch G2, you would not go down in size. So I'm guessing you're coming from 65. So then,
Buddy Love is like us. 83.
Why do you think I'm so tan, bro?
Good job, buddy. Buddy's got it right.
All right. And interesting is the reason why he's considering the X93L is in the incoming screen size feature that could help when playing FPS, first-person shooters.
Right.
I don't know if that helps or not, but Brian, maybe you can respond to that.
What is that? The one that lets you shrink it down?
Is that it?
There's two. There's one that lets you split the screen, so you have, say, a map on one side, then you have the ability to shrink the screen down to 65, which in theory would make the pixel density more, at least make the image look cleaner. I haven't seen either one of those enough for me to actually be able to say yes.
I think we just gave Lisa FOMO. I want a 77-inch now, but it's 7 feet away, too close.
Perfect,
my dear.
Perfect. You got to try it, Lisa. You're not going to go back. Now you're in God country, right?
Yeah, I tell you, Lisa, the 65 is going to feel. I mean, look how small this feels to us. I mean, it's going to be like an iPad.
Yeah, I think you would be fine 7 away from 77. Now, at a movie theater, when you're sitting, you'll be surprised how big that really is relative to where you're sitting. Unless you're sitting way back in the peanut gallery. I think 7 feet away from 77-inch is about the border of size. You should be okay. And especially if you have black bars. Oh, it's perfect. BT 2020 says the Sharp looks very sharp.
I'm surprised we waited that long to get that one.
I know it took me how long. Others are agreeing with us. 7 feet from 77 inches, perfect.
Yes.
Yep.
And just for you guys to compare, if you guys watch Youth Man, he is 10 feet away from a 140-inch screen.
Yes.
And he's just like, this is how I do it, right? No problems at all. He just loves that size. So for some people, you can never be too close.
I concur.
No, Lisa, not a tad close.
Nah,
Try
you're
it.
good, my love.
You can't go back. That's the problem. Once you're there, that's it. You're now stuck in the world of 77 inches. Hey, Getty G Man, U8K versus Sharp XLED. Sound-wise, Brian. Okay, sound. I know you've had a chance to listen to the sound. U8K, how do they compare?
So the sound, I would say the sound on the U8K is phenomenal. I had it in the video yesterday, the review. It's very loud. It's got some bass. This is very loud, very clean, and has more bass. And I would expect, I mean, the speakers on the U8K are just the little ones that flap out. It's got a sub. This one just has like actual speakers popping out of the top. So I think it kind of throws it over up firing. Yeah. So I would give the edge to the XLED, but I mean, Getty, man, the Hisense is like a quarter of the price.
Is it?
That you're paying for good audio, right?
What's the U8K at 65? 7?
No.
65-inch U8K is about just over 1,100.
At 65 inch, the U8K?
Uh-huh.
Oh, at 65. Okay, I was thinking 55.
65, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's about less than half the price. So
better, but I would say with those two choices, you do not need a soundbar. I mean, we all love separates and sound, but it wouldn't be something you'd have to run out and buy.
And going through, here's another good question. This is actually very relevant because the prices are similar. How does the XLED compare to the QN95C? They're both very similar price.
So the QN95C, the problem I've had is being able to really confirm that their picture quality is exactly the same as the 85 that I reviewed. We have a 65 here. It's close to the window though when it's mounted, so I haven't been able to really get a good feel for it. The Samsung just has a different look. It still does. It's got a more saturated, more poppy look. It can look more cartoony. Samsung needs a lot of work out of the box to really get that fun mode FOMO, if that's what you like. It does not look great trying to make it look accurate, at least in my opinion.
Yeah.
The XLED is better out of the box in that regard, but the QN95C is going to have a ton more options as far as gaming. And again, we're still here trying to find dynamic tone mapping and things like that. So it all depends on what you're using it for.
And I can tell you, Aqua, that the Q95C audio is nowhere close to what you're seeing with the Sharp. That audio is just
soundbar, no doubt.
It's insulting that it's a premium TV with an audio that just feels so dim. And I've been disappointed with Samsung audio out of the box on all their TVs for the last 2 or 3 years. And this is like beginning with the 900 TS. For whatever reason, although the Q Symphony, you really need to get a soundbar for a Samsung TV. The TVs alone just does not get loud enough. I mean, even their Crystal series is louder, which is crazy, but that's just how it is.
I think they're chasing the bezel-less design at that.
Yes, too thin. Yeah, there's always so much you could do. Oh, here's one. Best TV for football and movies. I guess it depends on the size, but if you could go big, the Sony X95L, in my opinion. But right, smaller sizes, and on a budget, even the Sony X90L for football, sports. Now, movies, I really like the S90C/S95C, and they look great with football. The G3, excellent for sports, but movies, it falls a little bit short of the S95C or the S90C or the other QD OLED, the Sony A95K or the A95L. So how particular are you? What's your budget, Silverback? And what's the size? Because if you're under $1,000, well, you got the U8K at 55 inches or the Q7, you can go up to 75 inches, which is my recommendation as the budget TV for under $1,000 at 75 inches. So it really depends on budget too. Crypto's saying, Sony better send these guys a check. You know what? Sometimes Sony wins, and sometimes it doesn't. Oh, wonderful. This is great. And thank you everyone for showing up. And don't forget to click like. Oh, now speaking of the Sharp XLED, Robert, when will you have it calibrated so that we can maybe get some peak brightness numbers just to get a feel relative to the Sony X93L or the Samsung Q95C, because it does give a slight relevant or relative brightness between the different TVs, just whenever it's possible.
So it'll either be Tuesday or Wednesday of this coming week, because Dwayne Davis, Be Nice, is coming to do a bunch of calibrations here.
Great.
So we're going to add this to his list of calibrations. And we'll have all the measurements, minimum peak lumens, we'll have color fidelity, we'll have all the measurements pre and post calibration.
And now I'm trying to debate whether I should wait for Dwayne to calibrate before I ask you to send the Sharp or get it out of the box.
Right.
What do you guys think? What do the viewers think? Should I get straight out of the box, no calibration, or you guys want the TV calibrated? My QM8 is no longer calibrated. I had it replaced. My Sony X90L is not calibrated. The G3 is calibrated, and the S95C is calibrated. So what are you guys thinking? Should I get a calibrated Sharp or a non-calibrated Sharp for comparison and review? Let me know in the comments below.
I'd probably only get it calibrated just for a better understanding of what the settings do. Unless you want to mess around with them, FOMO. I mean, just to get.
I do not.
I would say just because how busy you are, give it another week or so. Let him.
I'll know more.
And he'll know more this week.
This week when we get to
what everything does, because we may be missing some.
Yeah.
All right. Then I'll wait for it to be calibrated, and then you can ship me that one.
Sure.
And then that way we can get a feel for the Sharp XLED. And again, someone told me, I didn't know this, that in Japan, almost all the TVs are swivel when they're sold there. And when they get sent to the US, because they feel that US likes to wall mount their TVs, it's just the feet. I don't know if that's true, but a lot of the models in Japan, for those who are living there, told me that, no, in Japan, this one swivels. So it's kind of cool that we're getting a swivel version of the Sharp.
Yeah, it's cool. And I like it really is to be able to move it without the base leaving is actually pretty cool.
Yes.
I love the center stand, by the way.
Here's a great question for you, Robert. If they buy an 85-inch TV from Robert, can you get a discount on your BDI media consoles? Because they're going to put the TV somewhere, Robert.
Yes, indeed. So whenever you bundle and add other items, we give you a very nice extra discount on the additional items. It saves us. We ship everything together. And yes, please give me a call and let's work together. We will make this right for you. Absolutely. And thank you.
Wait. The viewers have spoken. They want me to get the TV out of the box. Don't calibrate it. Don't break it. And I'm fine with that too. Maybe I'll get it calibrated next year. Okay. So yeah, just get it to me out of the box. I'll get it fast and then we'll have fun with it.
Very good. Okay, very good.
And that saves Robert the trouble too. He just has to pack it up and get it out there. Even Lisa, the queen, has spoken. Don't calibrate.
Lisa.
Okay. It's nice out of the box, I got to tell you.
I'm looking forward to it because most people don't get it calibrated. So they want to see compared to the uncalibrated Sony. We're just talking color. Obviously, blooming, all that stuff maybe definitely be different, but we want to see the skin tones out of the box. So yeah, that'll work.
Yes.
But yeah, you will get calibrated values for sure. So yes. Dwayne Davis, when he does calibrate it, I'll talk to Robert afterwards, and on our next live stream, we'll talk about it. He'll leave behind the numbers and stuff. So we'll go over it.
By the way, I am going to have the Hisense UX 85-inch.
Oh, yes. Let's talk about that. The Hisense UX.
Competing, but I am going to have it there. And I'm likely going to put a Samsung QN95C right next, along with a one other TV.
Okay.
Yeah,
we have a QN95C at 85.
Yeah, QN95C is going to be right next. So those
X95,
three TVs.
So X95 from Sony.
Yes.
QN95C and
yes. And I'm going to put those three TVs
the Hisense.
Each other.
Nice.
Yes. So the Hisense, for those who are not familiar, the Hisense UX 85-inch has 5,000 dimming zones. Yes. Literally the most dimming zone of any 85-inch TV available today. But the question is, can they brute force their way past the Sony X95L, which I know, Brian,
We'll find out.
is the best.
In
We'll
5
find
minutes,
out.
We'll know the answer.
But you will have them available for sale, right, Robert? Because
Yes.
I know you're getting it for, okay. So, and there's not a lot of them.
They only
Oh.
made 250. There's 4 pieces left, and I bought them.
So Robert has 4. He's holding on to them.
We got 4 TVs. We got 10 tickets. Let's start the bidding
Yes.
now. We'll start at
Hey,
10,000.
CJ has a great question. Since you have the ear of Sharp,
Yes.
is Sharp coming out with other devices, sound bars, disc players? Robert, what do you have as far as Sharp brand cinema home theater is
I have
concerned?
active communications with them on building the brand with the proper connected devices, exactly the ones that you discussed. It's most likely we will get sound bars fairly soon, and Blu-ray discs players would be next year.
We'll have to see it, because I know no one's LG stopped, Samsung has stopped, Sony has stopped. I mean, all their Blu-ray players are 3 or 4 years old, right? They haven't done anything new. Panasonic definitely has stopped, and the new stuff are like Revon and Magnetar, just random names out of nowhere. So it'll be interesting if Sharp comes out with something that has, and if they're developing it now, Robert, automatic Dolby detection, please.
Thank you.
Literally, the only one that has auto detect right now is Panasonic.
That's correct.
And HDR10 Plus would be nice, but definitely auto Dolby detect would be great.
And this is an interesting thing, FOMO. It has a Dolby Vision banner enabled option,
Yes.
where it says you can turn the banner on and off. So I'm wondering if it lets you choose it or not. That would be interesting.
That would be interesting.
Never seen that before.
Yeah.
And, and of course, Sharp air filters. I forgot to mention, they sent an air filter with your TV, Robert. So if you need a good air filter, Sharp air filter. And Jake has a great super chat. Thank you, Joe. Oh, Joke and Josh has a great super chat. G3 or S95C for gaming? This goes to the heart of the matter. I would say S95C for gaming because it's less tweaking. Ultimately, you can get them to look very similar, but the G3 requires more work. Now, the S95C, as you've probably seen, the One Connect box limits the 144 hertz gaming with 444, blah, 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 because the One Connect box limits it to 40 gigabits per second. But some people say they can get the full image regardless, but it is definitely sensitive to PC gamers on a GPU that does it. Some people say they can't, some people say they can. But the fact is the S95C One Connect is limited bandwidth, 40 gigabits per second, and you'll see that issue at the 144 frame rate. So if that's important to you, keep that in mind. But other than that, image quality, I think the S95C is easier. SDR, quickly, you can get it bright. G3, you're going to play with it. They both have a lot of gaming features, yes, but the G3 dims in game mode. And I think game mode, I mean, these are OLEDs. They're all going to dim at some point. It just depends on what game. Is the dimming significant enough to get the Samsung? I don't think it's an issue on the Samsung S95C. But Robert, Brian, you guys have any preference for gaming? I know we were gaming at your store, S95C, 900C, and G3. I left. S95C was my choice. But Brian, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, the S95C, when we were shooting it, had the edge because those presets were locked on the G3. Mm-hmm. They weren't locked when I shot it. Mm-hmm. So it performed differently. I gave the S95C the edge because of the 144 hertz. So if it doesn't have that, it's hard for me to recommend it over the G3. I think it has more presets. And I think the S95C's challenge is connectivity. I think sometimes it drops. Sometimes with 144 hertz, I have to then test that. We have one here, an S95C that's out of the box. So I'll have to hook a PC up to it and see how it performs. We'll just figure it out.
Okay.
The G3, I didn't notice a lot of dimming with it, but I also tested it at launch. I didn't test it again. So other than 144 hertz, I think I preferred LG's look, but not if it's going to be locked out. So they've both been knocked down a notch, if that makes sense. Without 144 hertz,
that's true.
It's hard for me to want to recommend the S95C. I like both their image. I have to revisit it, but at launch, I like the G3. I like the S95C for 140 hertz. So they're it's really whatever operating system you like more. You know, if it's MLA, looks fantastic. I don't know. They've kind of both come back to earth a little bit.
Yes.
All right. Ankity G Man, here's a great question. 85-inch UX, the Hisense UX will compete with which other 85-inch TVs? The Sony X95L, right,
Yes.
Robert?
Yes.
And the Samsung QN95C. So
And
you
those
got
3 that I'm going to have butt up against each other at the TV Shootout.
yes, that's it. And those 3 have, well, great reviews. Now, will you have a QM8 85-inch? I forgot to ask.
QM8.
TCL.
Oh, I'm trying to. I'm working with them right now.
So we'll see. But
That's
for sure, the other 2.
But not again. The other 3 are in there. But
And as far as the review of the Hisense UX, I will review it at the shootout. I'm not going to get it to my studio, but we'll do what we can to get it reviewed there. Brian and I will do a live review. It won't be formal, obviously, but I think we'll have a feel for it. We'll look at the obvious. So we'll see if we can do some upscaling tests and motion stuff, but most importantly, see how the blooming is handled, right? So, there'll be a Blu-ray player there and we'll play with it. We'll bring our spears and muscle and see what happens for sure. And let's see right here. Oh, here's a great question. Florian, gaming TV 85-inch, 2,000 euros. That's a low price for an 85-inch. I can only think of the QM8. Now, I know the QM8 is a US model. I think in Europe it's the C8 or C9 maybe, but I felt that just console gaming, the QM8 had the best contrast. HDR popped. It's on PS5 and the Xbox. It looked great. Can't vouch for PC gaming, but I think for console gaming, this year's flagship TCL looks phenomenal. And that's within your price point, I believe.
There's really nothing else at that size.
Yeah. I mean, there isn't. I mean, Q7 maybe. And Classy has an offer. Robert, I might make an extra trip there before the shootout to review the XLED, and I'm going to calibrate it for the review. Then send that to FOMO with no charge for me. Hey, Classy, why don't you calibrate the comfort mode? So, yeah, I'm sure he's going to reach out to you. Thanks, Classy. You're awesome. Okay. And, of course, yes, even Classy has said the S95C is the choice over the G3 for gaming, and for many reasons too. It's not just brightness, but you got to watch their videos. There's just so much detail. Casual gamers will be happy with any TV, but those enthusiasts, yeah, you're gonna have to dive a little bit deeper. Okay, and let's see. And thanks everyone for showing up. This is great. And thank you, Robert, for making it possible. I know, well, first of all, I'm very surprised the Sharp is back. I thought they left for good, like Panasonic and everyone else. But having Sharp back maybe opens the door for Panasonic if it succeeds, right?
Yes.
Now, why is there more stutter on OLED versus LCD? And that isn't because of the hold of the OLED is so instantaneous that it doesn't allow for that natural blur, right?
Well, I mean, you're going to see more stutter in films because they're 24 frames per second versus the instant. So almost OLEDs are really too fast, which is why in gaming there's no blur. So, but the motion settings on OLEDs fix that pretty easily.
But it'll introduce soap opera a little bit, and BFI is supposed to help, but I don't like the flicker. So
yeah, it's they were too fast. But back in the day, they would stutter quite a bit because they didn't have a lot of the motion settings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And going through these wonderful questions.
Much love.
And thank you, Christopher.
So Classy's theory is, and I don't know the reason why, but Classy's saying it's not the 40 gigabit bandwidth limit on the S95C. It's that the One Connect boxes are flaky. So whatever the reason, One Connect box, bad, right? And game mode has random dropouts for some people, and it uses DSC for 144 hertz, so it shouldn't be relevant anyway. For whatever reason, the One Connect box just not recommended for high performance gaming.
That's right.
Something to keep in mind. And going through these. Oh, here we go. Thank you for the super chat. Nick, should I go with a 75-inch X90L, 75-inch QM8, or the 65-inch C2? Is OLED worth the size difference? I'm sitting 9 feet away. Now, I'm coming from a 55-inch from 9 feet away. Other recommendations in this price range. So this price range is under 2,000, just under 2,000, right? Already, I would not recommend the C2. I just like the larger sizes. Now, if you're in a bright room, but I still think I really like the X90L personally. I've been very impressed with it. However, the HDR pop and the QM8 is going to be pretty amazing. What are you guys thinking? He's thinking Sony X90L, which I do like a lot, by the way, or the 75-inch QM8.
Yeah. I would go with
I'm just kind of
the X90L also. I would go with the larger X90L. I think I got to get a battery charger.
Are you about to die?
Yeah.
I would say it's harder. It's not even like it's a 65-inch C3. It's last year's TV as well, but it's just really that's 10-inch size difference. The QM8 is going to give you the more saturation, brighter image. X90L is going to be more accurate. But the X90L, that's the QM8's the flagship. The QN90L is the intro to their mid high. So I like the X90L, but the QM8 is going to have the more flagship feel to it as far as its picture quality, saturation, darkness.
And Plasma TV wants to make you work. He wants you to install the light meter.
Been here for hours. I'm staying after they close so I can shoot just some footage. I appreciate. I'll try and get back to you on that.
Right.
Just getting video these days is hard.
All right. Let's go through here. And thank you everyone for showing up. This is fun. This is the first time Brian has done a live stream, remote, on site, and it's amazing. Just getting him in there. I love it.
Well, I mean, if I had the Surface Pro, we would have been all set. But that's my fault.
Yeah, that's right, Mozart. I don't mind at all. I'll get it calibrated and then I'll put it out of the box and factory reset and see what happens. Absolutely.
Move over. We're going to lose the battery in a moment here.
And here's poor Steve. I'm gutted. I can only go 55, but the best TVs start at 65 inches. And in Sony's case, Steve, their best LCD TV starts at 85 inches, right? But remember, you have the S90C and the S95C and the A95K and the A95L. Those start at 55. So potentially your king of TVs for 2023 has a 55-inch size. Going through, well, you guys are so active. Hey, Jennifer, always good to see you. So nice to see you. You do an incredible job. Brian, did you see the professional mode on the A95L?
Well, I haven't seen it yet, Jen.
No A95L.
Yeah, Jen saw it at a closed event a few weeks ago, I believe. So up in Canada, I haven't seen it. Robert has spent time with it. I didn't see it.
And Jen, I'm embarrassed that I did not officially invite you to be a judge at our TV shootout. If you can come, I'll take care of expenses, of course, and I would love to have you on our panel of expert judges.
And at worst, maybe prepare her for next year.
Yeah, she's down to come next year. She's judging a different event.
Oh, okay.
That's my fault. I should have arranged that earlier.
Sorry, guys. Thank you.
Her content's amazing. I'm going to try and get it for the shootout as well.
Thank you. Please, we would love that. Thank you.
And this is a great question because I'm doing a video on it right now. The first PC video game to support HDR10 Plus was announced at Gamescom. Yes. Do you think this is going to catch on? Could it be big? Could be big for Samsung? Absolutely. So for those who don't know, HDR gaming is currently static metadata, right? Even Dolby Vision, quote unquote, games are static metadata. The only one that's dynamic metadata, which is tone mapping all the time, scene by scene, however gaming does it, frame by frame, is with HDR10 Plus gaming. Compatible game, GPU, which is NVIDIA, and a Samsung TV, and I believe the Hisense U7K has HDR10 Plus gaming. Yes. Because it's on the game side, right? The game is the one doing the tone mapping. It takes the load off the TV. When the TV tone maps, it cannot, the processor simply is not powerful enough to tone map at 4K 120. So it's always the low latency Dolby Vision type, right? It is more of a static metadata, but HDR10 Plus, game-driven dynamic tone mapping. So in theory, the GPU is doing the work on the PC side. So right now it's PC only. Maybe one day it'll move to consoles, but this is very promising. I was at their HDR10 Plus gaming meeting with them, so I'll put out a video for you guys to see. But yeah, I think this is how it should be done. But you know what? It's up to Dolby Vision. to work with the GPUs to get it done with the developers on the GPU side.
Yeah, so if they do it that way, FOMO, then I'm interested in it. But right now, HDR10 Plus, even just on Prime, it all it does is lock me out of my picture settings.
I know.
Same with Dolby Vision and gaming. So if it's like you're saying, and it can move, then I'm all about it.
Absolutely. And going through here.
I'm okay to hang out after.
Oh, wow. It's 1 a.m. for some people. Hey, thank you, everyone, for showing up. And Jennifer Gala is saying, hey, she's going to mark her calendar. I will come next year. I promise, and I'm honored. And we would love to show and use some of your material, Jennifer.
Yes.
For sure. Does Value Electronics have a YouTube channel yet? Christopher, why do they need a YouTube channel when Brian and I can put them on our channel? I don't think Robert has the time. Maybe one day. Robert, are you planning a YouTube channel?
Say that again.
Chris is
I
asking.
actually have 3 channels, but I'm sorry that we don't use them. But maybe you'll help me get
He's
them
got
going.
me.
again.
What does he need? A YouTube channel.
Exactly.
He's got YouTubers.
And I'm going to have to leave, but Brian's staying, please. So please don't disturb
We're
anyone.
probably wrapping up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to wrap up in a few minutes. Any last questions? Let us know. So actually, before you leave, Robert, this takes us to kind of like the topic.
The 900C is in the shootout. It is.
Now, Robert, moving forward, do you see LCD TVs having a future in the shootout? Because it just feels like QD OLED is taking such large steps in brightness now, color saturation, color luminance, color volume. I mean, it's taken such strides that LG WOLED feels like it's being left behind.
Yeah.
Could this be the last year of Mini LED? Do you see maybe another year? No? You think there's still some juice left?
And you know what's very interesting? They're doing such a good job of getting closer to the emissive display OLED quality. So they're not going anywhere.
All right.
And they're still brighter and have other values as well.
They don't burn.
And wait, Sean Paul, thank you for the generous super chat. Wake me up when you manage to get your hands on a Hisense 85 UX Mini LED for a full review. Help him out, Robert. Robert's getting it.
Okay.
We're going to do it.
Send me an email and I'll email you when we're going to be doing that. But the TV Shootout is the place to see exactly what you asked for, Sean.
And I'll be there for a week. So during that week, I'll be there having fun testing it. And then Classy is going to be there and we're all going to inspect that UX.
To this channel on Saturday, September 30th to see that review.
Yes. Yeah. We'll be live streaming the shootout on my channel.
Continue on.
It's going to be great.
You stay as long as you like. You know what to do.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you all. Thank you all so much. Look forward to working with so many of your great members here. Thank you all.
And last call for questions. We'll hang out for another 5 minutes, and then Brian's going to turn off the lights and have a magical night with the Sharp XLED.
Yeah, I'll take it home. I'm done. I'm going to jump off so he can take his computer home.
Oh,
I still
wait, I love that. Brian, stay as long as you want. I got to turn off my computer.
But I'm going to put up, look for a short from my video, my channel in the next probably 10 minutes. I'll put it up on this thing. So you'll see a short trailer. Check that out on my channel. And I'll have the video up tomorrow or early Saturday.
And before we leave, I want to mention again.
But I'm going to have
Okay, go. Talk to you later.
Love you guys.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks for watching.
Bye, Robert. Okay, before we shut down, Robert mentioned earlier that the S90C 77-inch for AAA members is $23.99. He will price match that if you give him a call and tell him, hey, AAA, Samsung.com, it's $23.99. Same thing as Samsung. As long as that deal is available, he can offer it. The minute that deal disappears on the Samsung site, he may not be able to offer it. So if you do want a 77-inch and you're waiting for Black Friday, this is literally the Black Friday price, in my opinion. I don't think it's going to be lower. At best, maybe $50 lower. Now, I know someone said that the EDU discount is a few $100s lower, maybe $21.99. But man, that's just unbelievable. So if this is your price range for a 77-inch, this is a good price. Obviously, EDU, probably a little bit better. But yeah, if you guys have your eye on the S90C, which I think at this price is the best TV you're going to get for that price, go for it. All right, you guys are so fun. We're going to wrap up now. If there's no more questions, wait, is there a question? Can you answer my question? All right, I'll answer your question. What was your question here? I got to scroll up. Ask it again. Let me see. Oh, here we go. All right, I'll answer this. ALDev, AI dev. Oh, AI developer. I get it. Why doesn't Sony support HDR10 Plus and Dolby Vision? I mean, use all the panels for everyone else. Boy, let's unpack this. First of all, I'm going to start with the second half of your question. The panels don't determine whether you can support HDR10 Plus or Dolby Vision. It's actually quite simple. It's the SoC and the processor. Dolby Vision requires a separate processor. So for Sony to support Dolby Vision, they had to actually get a Dolby Vision processor on their TV. They were lazy several years ago and decided not to get that processor, and then they had what's called player-led Dolby Vision, low latency Dolby Vision, and that was terrible. And then finally, in the X900H, I believe that was the first time they used TV-led Dolby Vision, which is an actual processor for Dolby Vision processing, and now it works. HDR10 Plus, I don't know if it's a separate processor, but definitely it's just more work. And so for the TV maker, it's just a question of, for that additional effort, I know HDR10 Plus is quote unquote free. It's freeware, or you don't know, free licensing, but it's still work. You still have to have it installed on your TV and you have to test it. I mean, look at Dolby Vision on the Sony, right? It's not perfect. As a matter of fact, the best Dolby Vision accuracy on any Sony TV is still only the A95K. All the other TVs are either too dark or too bright, and this also affects TCL and Hisense. So it's Dolby Vision is not perfect. It still needs to work to make it better, and Sony doesn't have the money to frankly do all of that. You're lucky just to have it. If they were to add HDR10 Plus as well, and many of you are responding, wait, Hisense has and TCL has both, right? Hisense has both. Well, look at the quality of the Dolby Vision Hisense. To me, unusable. I don't use Dolby Vision Hisense. It's too washed out, lifted. I mean, just many descriptions, but none of them good. So just because the TV has Dolby Vision or HDR10 Plus doesn't mean it's better. That's just something to think about. So the answer is, my opinion, it's just too much money to develop yet another processing layer for Dolby Vision. They already have HDR10 down, right? Looks great. They don't have any resources left for Dolby Vision. So, all right. And TCL, I know Hisense has both. I think TCL does as well. Well, for sure, Hisense has both. But the Hisense Dolby Vision is not great. And TCL's Dolby Vision is a little bit better. I don't remember if TCL has HDR10 Plus. I rarely test both. I mean, I test it just to show you guys that it doesn't make a big difference. I'll tell you this, on the Samsung, HDR10 Plus indistinguishable from HDR10. And that says it all to me, right? I mean, occasionally HDR10 Plus might have this one highlight that's just a slightly bit brighter, but it's just not worth all the trouble. So at the end of the day, if Samsung cannot separate the two, and these are their flagship TVs, so a lot of people argue that on lesser TVs, maybe HDR10 Plus makes a bigger difference, and that's possible. But on flagship TVs, not a difference at all. All right, everybody. Thank you. Thank you for coming. We're going to have another live stream next week. I'm on my way to Detroit. Got to drop the kid off to college. And thank you for showing up. I'll be gone for the weekend. Until next time, stop the FOMO.